Assalamualaikum, Fahad bhai.
Walaikum assalam.
Thank you so
और
much
तो
for
ये
joining us
कोचिंग
today.
किसकी कर रहे हैं
How
पीछे, पहले ये बताएं।
how are we? क्या चीज?
कोचिंग किसकी कर रहे हैं पीछे, ये जो
यार ये
चीजें लिखी
कोच
हैं?
अब नहीं कर रहा हूँ यार, कोचिंग चलती रहती है, खुद सीख रहा होता हूँ मैं, लिख लेता हूँ। अब बुढ़ा हो रहा हूँ तो भूल जाता हूँ यार।
बुढ़े लग तो नहीं रहे हैं आप बिल्कुल भी।
हाँ, जवान लग रहे हैं वैसे. Fahad bhai, thank you so much for joining us today. I think Yasir bhai is probably having some connection issues, so he'll join very soon.
Thank you for having me.
अच्छा, most welcome. हमारा एक रूल है, जो बंदा हमारे शो पे आता है वो अपने आप को खुद इंट्रोड्यूस करता है. So Fahad
Okay.
bhai, if you can just take a bit, tell us who you are, where you are right now, and then when did you meet me and Mars first time?
Okay. My career launchpad is Pakistan. Of course, I was in Pakistan for 15 years. So back in the year 2000, I started my career with Asiatic Public Relations. 2002, I had joined Mindshare, and I joined Mindshare as a media planner. So I was primarily a client leadership person, and I had the privilege to work on businesses like Unilever, Pepsi, Gillette, and all that. In the meanwhile, एक छोटा break लिया था. I was with the broadcast sales side for 3 years. So I worked with AIY, I worked with Geo, and then moved back to Mindshare. And when I moved back to Mindshare, then you were there in my team.
Yep.
And Maz, actually, I met first time in Geo because Maz used to be with me. उस टाइम पे होता था चैनल आग, तो माज हमारी टीम का पार्ट था. एंड माज से मुलाकात वहां पे हुई थी. आई मेट यू इन 2010, आई बिलीव यू इन द यूनिलीवर टीम.
Yep, absolutely.
फिर पाकिस्तान में माय लास्ट असाइनमेंट वाज मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर फॉर ग्रुप एम इन्वेस्टमेंट्स एंड ट्रेडिंग. In 2016, I moved to Group M in Indonesia, heading trading and investment there. And 2018, I moved to Australia. So at the moment, I am heading partnerships and pricing with Group M in Australia, based out of Sydney. So I celebrated my 2 decades of work experience October this year, 2020, actually last year.
Congratulations.
So it's been like 20 years.
Congratulations.
Thank
Glad
you.
you survived and thrived.
और
Very
अभी
few people survive
Yasir
and
is going to Yasir is going to join us. Yasir, obviously, I met him in 2002 because he was there in Mindshare, and in 2005, my direct reporting line was Yasir. Yasir was the general manager for Mindshare. और फिर यासिर से मुलाकात वापस बड़े अरसे बाद हुई. When I moved to Indonesia, Yasir was heading Starcom at that time.
Yeah.
So फिर यासिर के साथ इंडोनेशिया में 2 साल अच्छी मुलाकात रही, और वैसे होती रहती है. मतलब obviously he is one of the mentors. And
यासिर साहब के बीच में भी मुलाकात हुई है. यासिर was at Geo when you were in Geo.
oh sorry, yes, Yasir was in Geo.
Yassir was in Geo.
मैंने और यासिर
Maz,
ने पॉकेट्स में हमने काफी दफा काम किया है.
brilliant. Maz, Yasir is in. You can get him in. Perfect.
Hi,
Perfect
Yasir.
timing, Yasir bhai.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम यासिर.
I think it's the internet connection, perhaps.
Yeah, it's the.
Can you hear us?
Walaikum Assalam. Assalamu everyone.
Walaikum assalam. I think थोड़ा delay, Yasir bhai. Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
No, I think internet connection का है.
I think उनका internet slow चल रहा है. So Fahad bhai, congratulations on your 20-year anniversary.
Thank you.
It was. I mean, it's a brilliant career path that you've had, and mashallah, you're sitting in Australia right now. So if I don't know if you've seen some of our shows before. The idea again is to just get the people that we know can have created impact in the overall industry, and the idea is to then use your brains and your knowledge and your point of view to see how we can help people like us, people like me and Maz, and also people who are in Pakistan right now, and how can we support them, and how can we build a bigger community like other nations have done outside their country. So इसमें India भी आता है उसके अंदर, China भी आता है, so many other markets that have done that.
बिल्कुल.
So starting off with while Yasir bhai joins back again, so something that we always wanted to talk about, and मैं और माज ये बात करते रहते हैं जब हम लोग चाय पे बैठते हैं या कॉफी पे बैठते हैं, right? कि there are always challenges when you leave your country and work in a completely new market. और हर market के different challenges होते हैं, right? So what was the few things that you remember that were very challenging in the beginning, especially in Indo and then in Australia? And then what was, because of the experience that you had, were there any opportunities that you were able to unlock versus someone who would have been in the market as a comparison to someone who's in the market to expect की जरूरत ही नहीं है, right? So what was the opportunities that you saw and were able to latch on to And any tips that you have for anyone who wants to take that path and say, okay, fine, I think I've done enough in Pakistan. Let's move out for a while and see what I can explore outside.
Okay, so there are quite a few questions in whatever you have
Yeah.
right now
Yep.
communicated. So पहली बात तो ये है कि यार when you move to international markets, there are few good things and then there are certain challenges. I wouldn't say bad things.
Absolutely.
And the biggest challenge always is actually the change of culture. Right. So, of course, being brought up and raised in Pakistan, similarly, people in India will have similar issues because everybody has their own set of culture and values in their
Yep.
own country. And when then you move out, then you start working with a very diverse team. So when you move to a market like Indonesia, of course, your entire team was Indonesian with a
Yep.
mix of people from different parts of the world. That includes people from UK as well, some people from Europe, but that's in a leadership. In your local team, there are everybody who's like local people. So you have to first gel in with the culture. Secondly, I would say your challenges also depends on what level you are moving to a regional or international market.
Absolutely.
Right? If you move at an early age with 5 to 6 years of career, that's the ideal time because you are very adaptive. You are in process of unlearning and learning, so you can quickly pick
Yeah.
things up and you have got a lot of time at your disposal. Probably आपकी शादी नहीं हुई होती, stuff like
Yeah.
that. You don't have
Yeah.
kids, so it's easy to spend time, socialize with people, get to know them.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you're in middle management, the challenge is कि आपको जाके at one point in time you have to lead a team, whether it's a 3 people team or a 4 people team, but you are in leadership in one way
Yeah.
or the other.
Yeah.
और जब मैं जिस स्टेज पे गया था वो दैट इज द मोस्ट डिफिकल्ट आई वुड से बिकॉज यू आर डायरेक्टली गोइंग टू द मोस्ट सीनियर लीडरशिप पार्ट.
Leadership position, yeah.
सो उसमें
Yeah.
कभी कभार ऑब्वियसली ये भी होता है कि इफ यू स्टार्ट आस्किंग क्वेश्चंस टू योर टीम तो पीपल डू गेट एन इम्प्रेशन कि अबे यार
तुम
मतलब
कौन हो?
ही हेडिंग अस और उसको तो ये भी नहीं पता. अब
हाँ.
जाहिर सी बात है कि वो आपको नहीं पता होता, बट इट्स बेटर
Yeah.
इफ यू आस्क द राइट क्वेश्चंस टू द राइट
Yeah.
पीपल. But
Yep.
Absolutely.
of course, because then you have got multiple pressure because you are in a new culture. So first gelling in with your team and the culture. Secondly,
Yeah.
you have got a family at home. And they are also in a new country. So you can't
Absolutely.
spend extra hours at work. You have to be back in home at some point in time to look after them and show them around so that they can understand that okay, they are enjoying the market and the country. और फिर एक प्रेशर होता है लीडरशिप में इफ यू आर इन अ पीएनएल रोल और अ लीडरशिप क्लाइंट लीडरशिप रोल कि यार अभी तो मार्केट समझी भी नहीं है. मतलब डिपेंड करता है हाउ मच टाइम द सिस्टम गिव्स यू टू एडजस्ट.
Yeah.
कुछ सिस्टम्स में आपके पास टाइम नहीं होता. मतलब ऑब्वियसली कुछ रोल में आपको 5 से 6 महीने शायद हनीमून पीरियड होता है, बट आफ्टर 6 months यू हैव टू स्टार्ट डिलीवरिंग. Otherwise, you starts getting questioned. Your position starts getting questioned or becomes
Absolutely.
questionable, right?
Yeah.
So that was a challenge in Indonesia. Australia is a different animal altogether, and I had the shock of my life because इनका तो culture ही इतना different है, right? So they are completely different people, and the biggest challenge is in Indonesia. At least I had a lot of friends from India. So India and Pakistan has got a lot of similarities to get along with, to talk to people. In
Absolutely.
Australia, I was the only Asian in the entire team, and I still am the only Asian, right? So that makes things a lot of difficult. Matlab, obviously, there are some topics that they don't even consider significant. Like if you tell them, कि यार, sometimes it happens that I don't save, and they are like, oh, okay, does it really matter? So that's if you tell them I am planning to send my kids to like Ivy League college or something like that, and they're like, oh, do you think that much? What difference does it make? So
Yeah.
they live very differently. So
But they're very
similarly,
laid back. As a nation, they're very laid back,
they
right?
are laid back. The good thing is that they are very blunt,
Yeah.
and the second best thing is that they don't take anything home when they leave office. So if
That's
they have a
brilliant.
grudge, they will have that grudge in front of you in the office. At the bar, probably they will be your friends again, right? So they want to keep their professional and personal life very separate. So of course, and there's a speed of work and there's a culture. So if they say 8 o'clock, they will be there like 5 minutes to 8.
Yeah.
If they say
Absolutely.
all right, like after 5:30, if you work, then they have a problem with you, right? So, sometimes it's okay because initial days when I moved to Australia, what I was doing was I was trying to understand the market. So I used to be in office till 7 o'clock. So second month, I still remember that I got a call from HR, and I was being interviewed by HR that do you have a family problem at home? or are you overworked? Why are you sitting in office at 7? It's not healthy because 7
So
निकलती हो तो
yeah.
आपको सारी पुरानी रातें याद आ गई होंगी फोरम्स की.
Acha, Fahad bhai, let's move to Yasir bhai. Yasir bhai,
Yeah.
sorry, you had some internet connections. Petty Cheese, can you just introduce yourself because that's
Sorry
the
about
rule
it.
of the game. So whoever comes has to
Sure,
introduce
sure.
themselves. So let's start with that first.
So, so yeah, I spent my last 24 years or so on the media side, both at
Yeah.
agency and broadcaster. And 2 years back, I started my own startup within the programmatic ad tech space. So here I am.
Brilliant. So yeah, Yasir bhai, you were talking about the challenges, right? So in terms of when you move from Pakistan, initially there are some challenges that you face, right? How was your experience been in a similar manner in Indo? What were the challenges that you
Yeah.
faced
So
initially?
obviously, when you move to a new market, you are getting out of your comfort zone, right? So
Yeah.
you have to start everything afresh. You need to understand the market. You need to work with different work culture. लोग अलग होते हैं different. If you're working in a market like Singapore, then there वहाँ पे different nationalities, different backgrounds से लोग आए होते हैं. If you're moving to a country like Indonesia, so they have their own unique way of working. So
Yeah.
getting things done with people who have a different way of working, I think that's the biggest challenge.
Yep, absolutely. And I think our experiences have been very similar. But Father, एक point आपके वाली बात से मुझे याद है. आपने कहा था at different levels it's a different challenge, right? So if
Yeah.
you're going at a manager level or you're going at 6-7 साल का experience, it's a different experience. It's easy to adapt.
Yeah.
But what I've seen is, and I don't know if it's true or not, at least in Malaysia and similar markets, manager position पे आपको opportunities नहीं मिलती. Because generally, जैसे Malaysia के अंदर, they would rather hire an associate director, for example, or director, because they can justify that role. As a
Okay.
manager, it will be hard for them because there's so many managers already existing in the system. जो locals वो ले सकते हैं, right? So they don't need. So that's something that at least we experience. कि hire करना भी जब हम लोग विवेक को भी लेके आ रहे थे, was an opportunity that we had. उसमें बड़ा problem हुआ था शुरू में, but we had to really
Right.
sell it in to make it happen. So I
Yeah,
think
do
that's
it.
something which
But
probably
on a light note, I just want to
different.
ask one question to Yasir. Yasir, एक article आया था बहुत viral हुआ था. You were very famous as a very good manager that a lot of people are willing to work for you in your agency.
Good
What was
looking.
that? What was yeah? What I don't want to say that. What was that? It was
Yeah,
like क्या था वो?
I don't take great pride about that. I don't feel really good about that article, but yeah, I wish somehow it could like hide itself from the Google search, but somehow it just pops up. Huh? It pops up so much that my son he was like 10 साल का था grade 4 में, and he was doing some research on family tree. उसको मिल गया, उसने पढ़ा, फिर उसका comment भी कहीं नीचे लिखा हुआ है उसी article के अंदर. So that was the only thing I feel proud about regarding that article. Otherwise, and obviously some comments from my ex colleagues and boss. So that's the only good thing about that article. Otherwise, I don't want to. I don't want to refer
be associated with that.
Yes,
नहीं
we
यार
can
बड़े popular थे.
So I think I'm sure Fahad bhai has some stories that we can talk about after the session.
वो
So so Fahad bhai, Yasir bhai, हमने पिछले तकरीबन कोई 5 sessions के अंदर discussion we had with different sets of people, broadcasters भी थे उसके अंदर agency के लोग भी थे. So we're talking about specifically to Pakistan, we're talking about the digitization and how OTT platforms in other markets have picked up tremendously while Pakistan is still a struggle. Now, and you guys are out of Pakistan, so are we. So we don't have much to comment back home, let's say, because हमारे पास direct information नहीं होगी. But we still felt there's certain challenges in the way the market is expanding towards, driving revenue through content, driving revenue through OTT platforms. So with your experiences and the things that, is there anything that we can look at, it might help, or we can experiment with that's been successful in developing or developed markets that we can then see and bring back to Pakistan to start off with? So Fahad, if you want to go first.
Yeah, see, the area of opportunity, or I would say the market, is big if you are talking about from Pakistan perspective. Zahir si baat hai, but again, look, we are media buyers by profession, right? So we
Yeah,
can buy media space only when it's available.
absolutely.
So that area, I mean, if you look at all those advanced markets over there, the market has expanded because I think the media owners were the first ones to take the initiative to invest in that area because they saw that area as a booming area.
Yeah.
So it's not a hidden thing that that is a big opportunity area. How people in Pakistan conceive it or take a look at it or have a business plan from a media owner perspective, that really matters. And after that, obviously, there's a long debate of what is OTT, what's the growth like, because so far the Pakistan digital landscape, of course, it's been 6 years. I'm away from it, but digital mein, there is growth. It's just that it's ad hoc. So we have to
Mm,
see, I mean, how the thoughts are combined and how people come together to bring
mm.
that to action. So that's what my view is actually.
Okay.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Now your connection is back now.
Okay.
Yasir, I
Perfect.
just want to open up this question. I think before we go into the OTT part, right? हमने जो 4-5 पहले episodes किए and there's a lot of people in Pakistan and they keep on asking that question. What is the future of linear TV? And I don't want you to comment on Pakistan. I want you to comment from a global perspective. Do you think that future of linear TV is still there, or it is still a future only in developing markets? How to go about it?
Yeah, I'm of the view that the existing channels will reform and reshape, and what we know of as TV might not stay the same in future, right? Linear TV right now अभी dominant है, or maybe at least in Pakistan for the next few years. When I say few years, maybe 3 to 5 years, it will still stay dominant, right? But we have seen कि जो developed markets हैं, it has already started going down, right? But does it mean कि linear TV खत्म हो जाएगा? No. And I think to that point, the biggest sign is that Netflix has launched a linear offering. So
Yeah.
Netflix
Mm,
Direct, which has just been launched in Europe, is a linear offering. So there are people and there are times when you are just in a laid back mode and you want someone to just show you something जहाँ आपको खुद रिमोट उठा के कुछ ढूंढना ना पड़े, right? So that is what
yeah.
linear TV, that is where linear TV comes in, right?
Hmm.
Then there are another few things which make linear TV strong and gives them an edge. First of all, the live broadcast, right? No matter what you do on demand in OTT, might not be able to come to that level of covering live events, right? So linear
Live
TV would
sports
have to
as well.
be, right? तो वो वहाँ पे होंगे. Then comes the expertise in terms of doing content, right? Historically, this has been the forte of the linear TV and the broadcasters. Uh, they have the money, they have the deep pockets, and they have the expertise of developing it, right? Slowly and gradually, there are more challenges coming in, और बहुत सारे options are again for content production. So it might not hold true for long, right?
Mm,
Third, I think, is the trust factor, especially with the older generation, baby boomers, or even for Gen X, right, who have grown
yeah.
with linear TV and the brands of linear TV. This doesn't hold true for Gen Z and Gen A, जो कि जिनके लिए linear TV का concept या linear TV उन्होंने कभी देखा ही नहीं, वो तो बड़े ही YouTube या OTT channels के साथ हुए हैं, right? So this
True,
might
true.
hold true for another few years till the time ये जो shifts हैं, are, my view is these shifts happen with the generational shifts. जब baby boomer की जगह Gen X आया, Gen X के बाद Gen Z अब already is in the workforce, right? We will start seeing these shift much more drastically. So now you will see in the next 3-5 years, it will not be an incremental change. You will see exponential sort of disruption happening in this space. But it doesn't mean कि linear TV खत्म हो जाएगा. रहेगा, कम हो जाएगा, but it will still exist. यानी लोगों ने कहा रेडियो खत्म हो जाएगा, प्रिंट खत्म हो जाएगा. They have taken different forms and shape, but है,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
तो अपनी थोड़ी बहुत उनकी niche और audience रहेगी.
Right. I think, but बात वही है ना, for any platform to sustain, you have to innovate, right? So किसी market में जहाँ पे innovation नहीं होगी, वो शायद फिर बिल्कुल ही एक limited audience के लिए रह जाएगा. This is what you're saying, right? Yeah, I
Yeah,
think it
but
makes
that's an
sense.
important point. But I think coming back to your point of traditional players are very good with content productions. Definitely, there's a other view as well that Netflix has much more deeper pockets than traditional players these
Yep.
days, which is also a view. But just one question. I think last episode we discussed kiya tha, and I think and there's a lot of questions coming in from, especially in Pakistan, and they're saying yeah, traditional players are very good in content production. They know how to produce it. They've been doing it traditionally. But with the new digital thing coming up, they have a great content. और हम ये देख रहे हैं कि लोग वो कंटेंट बनाते हैं और उनके लिए डिजिटल एक्टिवेशन ये होती है कि वो कंटेंट उठा के यूट्यूब पे डाल दिया टू मोनेटाइज. And this is a question for both of you. If you are a if you are a traditional player in content space and you have a linear TV perhaps as your one channel, how I can monetize via digitally my content? Is there any business models other than just putting your content YouTube pe dal ke paise kamao? What are the few things that you can think
Yeah.
based on experience from a global perspective, how traditional players have actually started monetizing digital?
Yasir, you go first.
Yeah, sure. So, see, the easiest and the first choice is obviously put it on YouTube, right? It doesn't take anything. एक उठा के
Yeah.
upload कर दिया, automatically monetize हो जाता है, right? That's how monetization within digital space started off, right? Google ने
Yeah.
AdSense बना दिया, and then हर एक ने अपनी website पे वो लगाया, they started making money. But I think the content producers have learned it the hard way कि उन्हें YouTube से कुछ नहीं मिलता. They only get peanuts, fractions of what
Yeah.
the revenue is.
Yep.
And I think the best example is Hotstar in India. उन्होंने इंडिया में चैनल्स ने उतार दिया अपना कंटेंट यूट्यूब से, राइट? टू डेट यूट्यूब पे बिगेस्ट व्यूज अभी भी प्रोफेशनल कंटेंट के आते हैं, राइट? प्रोफेशनली प्रोड्यूस कंटेंट, ठीक है, देयर इज लॉट ऑफ यूजीसी कमिंग इन, देयर इज लॉट ऑफ न्यू कंटेंट प्रोड्यूसर्स हैव कम अप, लेकिन अभी भी आप एक प्रोफेशनली प्रोड्यूस कंटेंट किसी भी टीवी चैनल का उठा के देखें वर्सेस यूजीसी कंटेंट, यू कुड सी द डिफरेंस इन व्यूज, राइट? So I think that probably holds true for most of the markets. Pakistan maybe it holds true. If the TV guys have to make money, then obviously they'll have to move to an on-demand platform other than YouTube. अब वो पाकिस्तान में अभी है नहीं है, but this is the time to invest. जहाँ उन्होंने पिछले 20 साल सिर्फ पैसा ब्रॉडकास्ट से बनाया था, एडवर्टाइजिंग से बनाया था, तो दे कैन सर्वाइव अनदर 5 years on the back of advertising, but at least in that process start building a platform and start building audiences.
Yep.
जब वो लोगों को पता होगा कि मुझे इस प्लेटफॉर्म पे ये कंटेंट मिलेगा, then you will be able to accumulate audiences over a period of time. अगर आज आप उठा के यूट्यूब पे दे देंगे और उसके अगेंस्ट आपको कुछ नहीं मिलेगा, then it's like you're digging your own grave. At the end of the day, you will be too much dependent on YouTube. Like
और आपकी
when
कंटेंट कोई
we,
वैल्यू भी नहीं रहेगी, right?
Yeah.
Because you're selling it
Yeah.
cheap basically. You've spent so much money to produce it. You've had one run, but you could have made much more.
It's very expensive now. Like as in to put it on YouTube doesn't make sense. Fahad, what's your point of view on it?
Yeah, from Australia's perspective, if I'm saying I'm talking about 2020 data, I just pulled out some numbers also. So streaming was roughly I had the numbers 20 billion minutes of streaming in 2020, right? So you can imagine, and I pulled out some stat. Recently attended a session of Trade Desk and Kantar in Southeast Asia also. Right now there's 8 billion hours of OTT
Yep,
per month
yep.
viewed, right?
Yep.
So that's significant numbers. I think Pakistani broadcasters or media owners just have to look at these numbers first to understand how big the opportunity is. And of course, they have to move into that space as quickly as possible, because I definitely agree from the very beginning that sending your content, and that's expensive content, to YouTube is not the solution, and that's not what also you call it digital strategy or your digital presence.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, not just the broadcasters. Overall, अगर आप पाकिस्तान में आप check करें, still, if you talk to clients, talk to people, what your digital strategy is, I think 85% would be Facebook and Google, and that's the end of the strategy. So
Yeah.
perhaps the reason that you don't have local publishers, that's one of the reasons. We don't have मतलब premium publishers, premium video का concept आया नहीं है, आएगा, लेकिन आएगा उस वक्त, as I said in the beginning, that we are media buyers. Somebody who's selling the media has to venture this space first, invest in that, and I agree with Yasir that you have, because it is a significant investment from a tech perspective. Because we have seen in Australia, like all the broadcasters have their, so we in Australia call it BVOD, which is broadcaster video on demand, right?
Mm.
So each of the broadcaster has got BVOD, which is broadcaster video on demand, and those there's a mammoth in terms of their revenue generation. Or abhi to khair COVID mein to they have hit the ceiling. So
Yeah.
in Australia, what we are doing is when we report AdX, we actually combine TV and BVOD spend. So
Mm.
if you look at what's the chunk of, because BVOD is so big now that you have to take it as part of TV spend. So we calculate TV and BVOD together.
Mm.
और अभी obviously cross platform पे काम हो रहा है तो वो और हो जाएगा, लेकिन that's true that the Pakistani channels have to launch their CTV offering or their BVOD platforms sooner the better it is, because again revenue build up होने में भी time लगेगा. हाँ, the challenge would be that it is not going to start bringing in the returns from day one. It's going to be
Absolutely.
like, it's going to be 3 to 5 years, so it's not going to
Yeah.
happen today, it's not going to happen like tomorrow. So they have to be patient about that, because BVOD platform takes time to build up. And of course the only challenge that I see, अभी हम जब linear TV की भी बात कर रहे थे, probably a BVOD पे you won't be able to sell that kind of a CPM what you are selling on TV. So that's the biggest fear of broadcaster is कि यार, क्योंकि एक साइकी में पाकिस्तान में रह के देख चुका हूँ, हम 15 साल, यासिर भी ब्रॉडकास्टर पे रहे, हम भी रहे. The first question is कि यार रिटर्न कितना होगा. अरे अभी तो काम शुरू नहीं किया ना यार. When we will start, only then we can see return, because I know business plan is important, but some businesses are planned in a certain way. So you need time to build that,
Yeah.
and then that's how no business starts. I mean, no business ever gets profitable in first year. I mean, होंगे. Elon Musk
Mm.
ने भी शायद एक पहले साल में तो वो भी profitable नहीं था यार. तो अब आप उसकी अगर आप देखें, so businesses takes time, and that patience is not there. So the question is, तो फिर वो होता है कि यार इतना महंगा कंटेंट बना रहे हैं, मोनेटाइज नहीं होगा. अरे भाई, अभी तो अव्वल तो you are not even spending on your BVOD content. You are talking about taking your own library to your BVOD platform, right? So you are investing theoretically from a content perspective, which is the most expensive part of any streaming thing is content.
Absolutely.
So when your content cost is zero, the only cost remaining is basically your tech and your data and setting up the platform. So I mean, might as well take the risk. Worst case scenario है, या तो बड़े बड़े चैनल भी तो बंद हुए हैं ना यार, क्योंकि लॉसेस दे रहे थे. तो जब 12 साल और 20 साल बाद ख्याल आया कि चैनल लॉस दे रहा है, तो अगर आप बीवॉड लॉन्च करके 3 साल बाद बंद करना भी चाहें, so what's so wrong about it? However, yes, the CPMs are going to be low, because जब टीवी का CPM इतना लो है, so आपका वीडियो ऑफटेक भी स्लो होगा. That's what my reading is about Pakistan.
Yeah. And I think Fahad bhai, इसमें ये भी है, हमने जितनी भी conversation, sorry Yasir bhai, go ahead.
नहीं, you finish off and I'll add on.
मैं बोल रहा था कि हमने पाकिस्तान में जितनी भी हमारी डिस्कशंस हो रही हैं पिछले 3-4 सेशन से, वो यही है कि रिस्क एपेटाइट भी नहीं है. सो यू एब्सोल्युटली राइट. शॉर्ट टर्म गोल इज मोर इम्पोर्टेंट देन लॉन्ग टर्म. सो इसलिए नो वन इज इन्वेस्टिंग इन बिल्डिंग ऑडियंसेस. वो एक ही टाइप का अगर ड्रामा सक्सेसफुल है इन अ सर्टेन कैटेगरी बोले उसको, या स्टोरी स्ट्रक्चर बोले, वो उसी पे चल रहा है. एंड वी आर नॉट एक्सपेरिमेंटिंग. एक बंदे ने बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग सवाल किया था कि जिस तरह Netflix करता है, it challenges you by showing you content that you didn't even think of, and then you like it. वो थोड़ी आपको वही चीज बार बार दे रहा है. वरना वही लास्ट सेशन में बात की थी,
हमने इसका कमेंट भी किया था. आई थिंक इट वाज इंपॉर्टेंट कि क्वींस गैम्बिट जो है,
exactly,
वो अगर वो देख के चलाते कि चेस बहुत पॉपुलर स्पोर्ट है, आई डोंट थिंक सो इट डजंट इवन कम इन द टॉप 10. इट बिकम्स पॉपुलर आफ्टर द क्वींस गैम्बिट.
बिल्कुल ऐसा ही है.
So I think वो एक थॉट प्रोसेस चेंज की भी जरूरत है. It will happen with time. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
So you are right, thought process change. असल में हुआ ये है कि when the industry was developing, right, तो एक challenger mindset था broadcasters में भी, right? So like we have seen it from day one. जब पहला cable and satellite channel आया था, ARY and then Geo. So there was a challenger mindset. They were experimenting and they brought in a lot of new formats. यानी PTV को उन्होंने हटा दिया ना, तो वो क्यों हटाया था? Because they had that challenger mindset. They wanted to find their space और उन्होंने invest भी किया content में, right? हमारे यहाँ चैलेंज ये होता है कि वो जो बिल्ड बोरो बाय वाला कॉन्सेप्ट है ना, तो हमारे यहाँ हर चीज वी ट्राई टू बिल्ड आवरसेल्फ, राइट? वी डोंट वांट टू लर्न और टेक और बोरो समथिंग फ्रॉम आउटसाइड. अभी फहद बात कर रहा है टेक और उसकी, राइट? दुनिया में बहुत सारे प्लेटफॉर्म्स हैं विच आर अवेलेबल फॉर बिल्डिंग योर ओन बीवॉर्ड सॉल्यूशन, राइट? आपने वाइट लेबल करें और उसको लॉन्च कर दें. You don't have to build your own. अभी जो भी सुनते हैं about पाकिस्तान वो यही होता है कि जी the channel is trying to build a platform and they'll do it. I don't think this is the time to invest in a technology right now. Technology exists out there. You just need to find the right platform. लाके आप उसको launch करें. In the meantime, keep building your own solution and add to it. ये और जो revenue वाला concept है ना, I think वो it's not really a concern. I'll give you an example. हमने जियो ने YouTube partner पहला launch किया था from Pakistan back in 2008, right? Geo News आया था, and then we put up a cricket match on YouTube as well, live streaming. Sorry, not on YouTube, not on YouTube. Geo की अपनी website पे, right? So there was no. So it wasn't about revenue on it. It was just about doing it and extending the reach, right? तो वो mindset जो है ना, वो I don't know वो कहाँ चला गया. Like with all the channels, अगर आपको obviously YouTube पे कोई cost नहीं है, आपने डाल दिया तो डाल दिया. But when you will try to build your own streaming solution, on-demand solution, तो infrastructure में invest करने की जरूरत है. But like I said, now ये जो cloud storage or streaming services are quite cheap and you would be able to find a solution to at least get this off. और अभी तो आपको कोई इतना you're not looking at making profits on year 1, year 3, right? And in Netflix after so many years अभी भी profit के पीछे नहीं जा रहा. तो what about हमें कौन कह रहा है कि हम अभी से profits को देखना शुरू कर दें for these sort of services?
नहीं यार, नेटफ्लिक्स में नौकरियां नहीं गई ना यासिर, यहाँ तो चली जाती है.
अच्छा, ओके, इसको थोड़ा टेक्निकल करते हैं. आई थिंक वी डिस्कस्ड अबाउट दिस होल B-word के ऊपर. Programmatic TV, this is a buzzword globally because based on both your experience, and I think Fahad, of course, you must be involved in Finecast with Group M. Yasir, I think Indonesia के अंदर भी there is a programmatic TV, and at least in what I'm aware of in Jakarta area. क्या है programmatic TV? For audience just wanted to understand what is programmatic TV और इसकी जो tech है ये सिर्फ buzzword है या it is something that can also happen in Pakistan as well, perhaps in the next 5 years?
Yeah, so okay, let me clear this misconception. The overarching term is advanced TV, right? Now within advanced TV, you have connected TV, you have OTT, and then you have your linear TV, which is being bought programmatically, right?
Yep.
So programmatic is just a means of buying anything. ठीक है, आपने automated way में digital buy किया, TV buy किया, outdoor buy किया, जो भी किया, so it becomes programmatic. Now within TV, अगर आप connected TV buy कर रहे हैं, right? Now connected TV is any TV which is connected to the internet with the means of a direct connection, streaming box, gaming console, Chrome stick, Fire stick, anything, right? अब उसके ऊपर आपने जो कंटेंट कंज्यूम करना है, या तो आप बीवॉट कर रहे होंगे ब्रॉडकास्टर्स और वीडियो ऑन डिमांड, या फिर आप ओटीटी एप्स यूज कर रहे होंगे, राइट? सो टू क्लियर द कंफ्यूजन, द वेरी सिंपल answer is कि OTT is just a delivery of content, right? Through over the air. Now that content could be delivered inside an app or it could be delivered inside the TV, depending on आप उसको किस पे देख रहे हैं, right? But connected TV itself is about the experience of watching content on a TV which is connected. The question is, what do you want to buy programmatically? You want to buy linear TV programmatically, or you want to buy a connected TV programmatically, right? OTT content तो आप मोबाइल ऐप के अंदर भी बाय कर लें, वो तो आज भी हो रहा है, right? अब वो आप Netflix is a wrong example, but let's say आप कोई और OTT ऐप देख रहे हैं, iFlix is a relevant example for you ले लें in this region. आप उसको आज या उसको programmatically buy कर सकते हैं on digital channel, and you could do it, but you can't buy linear TV programmatically as of now, at least in this region, right? Australia may maybe hoga, but not at least in Southeast Asia. I haven't heard of a linear TV being bought programmatically. Connected TV, now I have started hearing that Samsung would be launching a connected TV solution soon in this region, right? They have already launched their connected TV solution in US, in Europe. They have even launched their DSP to buy connected TV. So it's a simple ad appearing on your TV screen, either where the tiles are at the bottom. जब आप TV on करते हैं, नीचे सारे वो apps के tiles आ रहे होते हैं, वहाँ पे एक image आता है या video आता है. When you click on it, it expands and plays on the full screen, right? So it's not here yet, but people have started talking about it to make it to create excitement in the market. लोग अब OTT को भी connected TV और programmatic TV count करते हैं, and they say this is programmatic TV. It's okay if you want to call it programmatic TV, but in pure technical terms, if I go by the IAB definition doesn't put OTT as a programmatic TV essentially.
Okay, perfect. Sounds good. Fahad, just a disclaimer before you get into it. वो उसका फाइन कास्ट का एडवर्टाइज नहीं चलाएगा.
नहीं बिल्कुल ऐसा नहीं होगा. तो यार I will first comment on the thing that OTT platforms or B words or S words, the future is going to be programmatic buying, because the way the number is increasing, eventually the planning and buying will become very difficult. So you will eventually have to go programmatic for that also. Otherwise you will always get stuck. और measurement issues हम बाद में आएंगे, उस पर अभी हम उस पर बात नहीं कर रहे. So that's one thing. Secondly, as far as linear TV being programmatic is concerned, that's not even happening in Australia, because that's a project that is ongoing for the last 4-5 years, because it's a mammoth task. Abhi in Australia, the linear TV is actually what we call is dynamic trading. So what is happening is each of the channel, they have got their own platform. So when you have to buy CPM guaranteed or anything, so you just have to enter the brief in the system, and the system churns out the entire plan, and at the end of the month you get your log that these spots were aired, this is the CPM maintained. So you don't plan you don't make a plan for a CPRP thing, right? So that's automated. So, and that's what you call dynamic trading. But I mean, usko ab aap programmatic keh lo, agar aapko, if you want to, I think, kind of put it in a structure, we are buying programmatic, but we are not, to be honest. It is dynamic trading and it's automation. It's not programmatic. So linear is not happening. However, linear mein the biggest challenge that the industry is facing right now, and the challenge जब भी पाकिस्तान में भी कभी आएगा या किसी भी मार्केट में जाएगा, the challenge would be कि यार सब eventually broadcasters जो होते हैं ना, they are cutthroat rivals. The issue is everybody is like कि why do we open up our supply to one particular SSP, and then that means what's the guarantee that my supply and my rates and all those things and my yield is safe, and what's the amount of inventory that is going to, we are going to open up to SSPs, right? So that is the challenge that the broadcasters are trying to fix, because of course all the broadcasters have to open up their inventory to that particular solution, where from your DSP will start picking up the inventory. So it is taking some time. So programmatic TV, पाकिस्तान के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से बात करें यार, टू बी ऑनेस्ट इट विल टेक अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम. अभी तो मेरे ख्याल फुल एसेंस में तो यार अभी तो यूएस में शायद हो रहा हो. यूके इज वेरी एडवांस्ड. सो यूके का मैंने सुना है कि यूके में हो रही है, बिल्कुल हो रही है. नॉर्थ अमेरिका में हो रही है, बट नॉर्थ अमेरिका में भी देखो, क्योंकि इतनी बड़ी मार्केट है कि क्लस्टर्स में काम हो रहा होता है, लेकिन जब वो प्रेस में आता है वो ऐसा होता है कि जी नॉर्थ अमेरिका इज डूइंग इट. द रियलिटी इट इज नॉट नॉर्थ अमेरिका. So probably New York is doing it, but it is not happening in LA or Chicago, because they have got their itna आपका डाइवर्सिफाइड उसका केबल नेटवर्क है, और उसमें मतलब यूएस का टीवी सीन बहुत डिफिकल्ट है, एंड सो इज चाइना। मतलब चाइना भी आप समझ नहीं सकते, उसमें रीजनल अलग बात करेंगे, आप मार्केट नेशनल बाय करेंगे तो आप सिटी वाइज भी बाय करेंगे। सो द मोर द कॉम्प्लेक्स द मार्केट इज, सो ऑब्वियसली दैट्स द वे यू प्रोजेक्ट योर मार्केट कि जी यस वी आर डूइंग प्रोग्रामेटिक बाइंग इन एसेंस। Few pockets are doing it. So Australia is still working towards that, although it's a smaller market because it's a country of 25 million people, right? So from that perspective, so market is pretty joined up in terms of ventures when they launch ventures. So they are working on it. So Pakistan में तो खैर अभी तो to be again, and I'll be very honest, पाकिस्तान में पहले तो CPRP कैलकुलेशन मैनुअली तो सही हो जाए पहले, अभी तो चैनल्स के पास डेटा पूल नहीं होता यार. You have to trust what the agency is saying. So first you have to get your data right over there, and you have to get your CPRP calculations correct at your end. Then you talk about programmatic linear buying. So even in advanced market like Australia, yes, we don't have 100% programmatic TV, linear TV. Addressable TV.
So Fahad, on just this point, right? Like automation can help address these issues regarding CPRP सही नहीं है, data सही नहीं है, क्या नहीं है, right?
Correct.
So the question is what you said earlier. Are you willing to change your mindset कि यार मेरी inventory open हो रही है market में and everyone can see कि how much is unsold and what has been sold, right?
Available.
Correct.
Yeah.
As far as कितने SSPs को देना, I think that is not a issue, right? आप एक ही SSP रखते हैं, सब उसी से connect हो और वहीं से bidding हो रही है, right? The question, I think the concern is more about आप show कर दें कि कितनी inventory sell हुई है और कितनी नहीं हुई है. That is the mindset which probably the broadcaster will have to come out of. But ये भी है कि यार right now buyer ही आपके पास 2 या 3 या 4 है, right? If you until unless you want to extend your reach to, let's say, the SMBs or SMEs, आप बड़े 15-20 advertisers से निकल के जाना चाहते हैं market के पास, so then you will need to have a platform where people could come and see what is available. My view is, and ये discussion Indonesia में भी हुआ था कि यार you need to test it out. आप 5%, 10% of the inventory रख दें for this purpose, right?
Yep.
At least start doing it and testing it out. हाँ, 2% रख दें यार, doesn't matter. At least build those flows and start looking at कि इसका advantage क्या है, disadvantage क्या है, what are the sort of things that we need to take into account. At the end, inventory would still be premium, right? It's finite inventory. It's not infinite like digital with unlimited inventory. But in case of TV, there's always a finite inventory. So you can control the price, you can control everything around it. So it's more of a mindset.
Sorry, एक point यासर आपकी बात में ऐड करूंगा, and you have got a good point that I don't know, I may be wrong, but this is going to be very helpful for smaller channels in Pakistan, क्योंकि Pakistan has got a plethora of channels, right? Because we have got like 35, 36 channels. तो अगर आपकी इन्वेंट्री वाकई क्वालिटी है, आपकी डिलीवरीज अच्छी हैं, जो कि कंटेंट शायद टीवी में देखने में नहीं आता, लोग चूंकि नहीं देख रहे, इतने सारे चैनल हैं, हो सकता है प्रोग्रामेटिक ट्रेडिंग में छोटे चैनल्स, आई वुडंट से छोटे, इट्स अ रॉन्ग वर्ड, राइट? सो
regional channels, for example, or language
channels or regional channels, I think they can benefit a lot if that happens. So that's my view.
Yeah, regional advertisers can also benefit as well. Right now, because TV is a very national brand thing, bade advertiser TV pe aate hain. If, for example, I only have a geographical skew of distribution in Sindh only, I can only buy that.
So I think the solution normally cables ke through hota hai, would move to cable households ke through.
Exactly. So Maz, over here again, not pitching Finecast, but that's what Finecast is. The one that you just mentioned, right? The regional target. So Finecast has the ability to take you up to a suburb level. Like in Australia, you have got suburbs. जैसे हमारे कराची में areas होते हैं, right? तो अगर मैंने अगर मैंने नाजनाबाद यूज करना है, मैं सिर्फ नाजनाबाद में मेरा ऐड दिख रहा होगा, मेरा ऐड पूरे पाकिस्तान में या पूरे कराची में कहीं नहीं दिख रहा होगा.
So वो जो मिल्क वाला है, शॉप वाला है, वो भी डाल सकता है ऐड.
Exactly, absolutely. I'll give you an example. Like because obviously Mitsubishi, Ford, ये सारे हमारे clients हैं. So इसमें जब हमने ये launch किया था, so हमें सबसे बड़ी traction जो मिली, वो हमें मिली इनके जो dealers होते हैं. क्योंकि obviously अब dealer एक 1 year free service की offer चलाना चाह रहा है, but he cannot advertise on TV. वो कहता है यार ये तो सिर्फ मेरे suburb के लिए या मेरे area के लिए है ना. So मैं तो उसको national spillover तो मेरा बहुत ज्यादा होगा. Over there, Finecast help them because a person living in XYZ suburb, they can only target specifically to them कि जी इस dealership पे ये offer available है. So the company saved a lot of money, and the
Yeah.
dealer got an advertising. The dealer got the traffic क्योंकि सिर्फ उस suburb के लोगों को ad दिख रहा था.
Yeah.
So that's where addressable TV comes in.
So Fahad bhai,
Yeah,
इसमें
you're
ये
right,
भी है ना कि for sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, Yasir.
I was just saying कि I agree addressable, right? But at the same time, Pakistan में the infrastructure is not there for addressability, right?
Oh,
अभी तक
absolutely.
हमारा जो सिग्नल डिलीवर हो रहा है वो एनालॉग है, right?
Correct.
So
उसी पे आने वाला था.
even if we try to put the analog signal together, आप
Yeah.
addressability नहीं कर सकते. But having said that, it still makes sense कि आप you create a bouquet of small reach channels
Yeah.
to allow people to buy. Now, my question is कि अगर broadcaster नहीं कर रहा, so what is stopping the agencies to innovate and do something? ये चीज आज से 15-20 साल पहले वहाँ हम ग्रुप में डिस्कस करते थे यार, why don't we combine these cable channels for buying purpose, right? So that we can
Yeah.
easily buy from one place.
Yeah.
What is stopping the
Yeah, we do
agencies in Pakistan in doing it right now? Right?
Yeah, correct.
So, यानी they can easily do it, right? उन्होंने क्या करना है, रोज उनके पास ये चैनल्स आके बैठे होते हैं कि जी आप हमारे साथ बिजनेस करें या कुछ करें. आप उन्हें बोल दें ठीक है, we will buy this way. अब ठीक है, who is going to invest in it? That's another question. अब वो एजेंसी करे या चैनल करे, but the system can easily be put together to at least start this process.
बिल्कुल.
The thing is कि करे कौन? आज सब I don't know what they are busy with, but
Everybody's too busy, Yasir.
अच्छा अभी
सर ये
काम
वो
करते हैं
सीपीआर भी कैलकुलेट कर रहे हैं ना, वो आज तक एक्सेल में बैठ के अब तो सीपीआर भी फिक्स कर रहा होता है.
वो सिखा रहे हैं वो पीछे बोर्ड के
मतलब I mean, based on my experience, I mean, of course, I've been there in the market. The challenge is, I think, Yasir, if you look at now and you go 10 or 12 years back in the market, especially when I started working with you and Arif and Fahad back in 2003-4 की जो टीम थी Mindshare की, आप और I would say client also, Yasir, आप सोचें back then client एक तो बड़ा open था रिस्क लेने के लिए और लेता था. मतलब उसने गेम्स मस्ती जैसी एक्टिवेशन की और उसने सनसिल्क जैसा प्रोग्राम उस टाइम पे प्रोड्यूस किया. 21st सेंचुरी वुमेन जो शायद फर्स्ट टाइम आई थिंक इतने बड़े स्केल पे कंटेंट प्रोड्यूस हुआ था. तो क्लाइंट बड़ा ओपन था और आई थिंक एजेंसी में जो लोग काम कर रहे थे शायद मार्केट छोटी थी या जो भी था, तो एग्रेशन उस लेवल पे भी बहुत था इन टर्म्स ऑफ डूइंग न्यू थिंग्स. इफ यू लुक एट नाउ, आई थिंक द फोकस इज वेरी मच only centered on delivering a number. That's also, I can understand the agencies have a pressure of delivering obviously year-end numbers, and that's hence the reason client is not willing to invest and take risk. Perhaps हो सकता है सर एजेंसी कहती हो गया रीजनल पे जाना, बट क्लाइंट कहता हो नहीं यार सीपीआर भी कैसे बैलेंस करोगे, so they have to pull out. So across, I think the ecosystem right now, if you look at it, is very risk averse in Pakistan, be it client, be it the agencies. And agencies are, I think, too tied up and focused on 2 to 3 4 top line things, and agencies are not also open and willing to look beyond those areas. Forget the media owners तो वैसे ही बिल्कुल एक लाइन पे चल रहे हैं जहाँ पे they have to fix. वो अभी तो यही कहते हैं कि यार टारगेट ही पूरा हो जाए बड़ी बात है और ईयर ऑन ईयर ग्रोथ आएगी या नहीं की. क्योंकि if I'm not wrong, based on my information, Pakistan edX back in 2015 was $470 million roughly. If you now 2021, it's $430 million. So it is coming backwards. That's another unfortunate thing. So these are the challenges. I think लोग खुल नहीं रहे हैं, मतलब वो खुल के काम करने के लिए कोई तैयार नहीं है या शायद कोई और टाइम इन्वेस्ट करने के लिए तैयार नहीं है कि यार कुछ नया भी हो सकता है. So वो thought
ये वर्ड इम्पोर्टेंट है ना, ये वर्ड इम्पोर्टेंट है. लोग, it's not the agency, it's the people.
Absolutely.
तो वही है.
I have a point on that. So it also depends on the economic condition of the country, right? In the situation that we are in the last 5 or 6 or 7 years, हम जितना भी blame कर लें कि हम risk averse हो गए हैं या हम सोच नहीं बदल रहे, but at times the situation is so bad, and it was before the current government came on board. अभी भी है कि इन्फ्लेशन इतनी हाई हो गई थी, लोगों के खाने पीने के मसले हो गए थे. So maybe it's also a combination of everything that's causing a very risk-averse mindset right now, even the broadcasters. अच्छा, हम एक काम करते हैं. Let's take a break for like 5 minutes. Let's take comments on because बहुत सारे लोगों के comments आ रहे हैं उस पे, which we have taken today.
Sure.
So Mas
बहुत
Khan,
लोगों के
would you like
comments
to?
हैं, बहुत लोगों के comments
तो
हैं.
हम करेंगे ये कि comments में हम ज्यादा लंबा नहीं करेंगे. The comment will come on there और आप लोगों के पास या तो yes, no, agree, disagree का मौका होगा. If you want to elaborate, of course you
Okay.
can, but we keep it focused towards हाँ यार हो सकता है नहीं हो सकता. I don't think so. All right? So we'll do it very
Okay.
fast. Mas Khan, let's begin.
अच्छा, कुछ आपने आंसर दिए हुए हैं, but I think you can just say yes or no. I'll just put it
Yeah.
on the.
So we'll start like this. First Fahad bhai, followed by Yasir bhai.
Done.
So
No.
Dato Sheikh Jamal साहब कह रहे हैं globally linear TV
No, it
soon will be obsolete soon.
It will not be obsolete.
No.
Okay.
All right, Mas
It
next
won't be
one. Rizwan
Rizwan.
Merchant कह रहे हैं broadcasters are afraid to experiment for the sake of the creativity as their sole revenue source is advertising, for which they are dependent on the media agencies.
I've answered this. Like, if you see from the start of the broadcasters, cable and satellite broadcasters 20 years back, this experimentation थी, right? Now that they've got into that comfort zone, they've become too big to take risk. So that appetite, like they've been more risk averse, right? Because the stakes are high. But that's the
absolutely.
thing.
यार my reply to this would be that पाकिस्तानी ब्रॉडकास्टर ने ही पाकिस्तान आइडल किया, पाकिस्तानी ब्रॉडकास्टर ने ही मास्टर शेफ भी किया. सो जब उस टाइम पे किया और तो फिर अब क्यों नहीं हो सकता. तो इट्स जस्ट दैट आई थिंक आफ्टर दैट वो ये रिस्क एवर्स इतने हो गए एंड कैलकुलेशन वाज मेनली सर्कुलेटिंग अराउंड कि यार रेवेन्यू कितना आएगा. फर्स्ट ईयर में तो शायद कोई भी सीजन नहीं बनाता, राइट? सो दैट अगेन
Correct.
एपेटाइट फॉर टेकिंग रिस्क एंड पेशेंस, those two
Yep.
things are missing right now. It's too fast, too short term.
Yep.
And then
Mas
I'll put
next one.
revenue question, which is actually related to our first point of expat.
Sir, when to apply for a job in digital position? If the way to apply is through a newspaper ad and to send application through a post letter, I think they are still quite far off. But by base, that is because there's no authoritative support on it yet by government bodies, etc.
Yeah,
This is related to
I
going
think
abroad.
applying for a job based on a newspaper ad or anything is like so backdated, right? अब LinkedIn है, आपका network है, that you need to find your way to the organization where you want to work and find some connect there to understand what they're looking for. ये अब ads जो हैं वो यानी newspaper पे online job portals पे भी नहीं आते.
Yeah.
People go through referrals and networks, and that's how you find jobs.
Yep. Yep.
Just want to add, I think jobs usually आपको WhatsApp messages से मिलती हैं. That's what I got always.
Yeah.
You always
कोई
get a
आपको बताता है
message.
यार ये opportunity है, you want to try.
That's
how it
what
starts.
jobs you get.
No,
And I
yeah,
think that the point is that you need to build a network, I guess.
yes,
Absolutely.
correct.
Absolutely. You
That's
have to,
what you
and it's hard to build a network. Let's be honest, also, right? You need to be in the industry to create those networks. So you can't
Yeah,
jump off to.
उसके लिए सिर्फ एक चीज मैं ऐड करूंगा before the
जी.
last question. LinkedIn Yasir ने mention किया. The only thing is, lot of people still do not know exactly how to highlight themselves on LinkedIn, right? So network वहां से build होता है. What you are posting and how, I mean, are you learning something or you want to share something, some of your work, or you want to post an article. So अक्सर लोग होता है कि वो उसको Facebook और LinkedIn में अभी भी discriminate कर नहीं पा रहे हैं.
हाँ, social की तरह use करते हैं उसको.
अक्सर लोग आपकी प्रोफाइल पे उस वक्त आते हैं when you post something really meaningful and informative, right?
Yeah.
So automatically you start building a network.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay,
Last
last comment. I'll take Dato Sheikh. Hold on, no, I think I put the wrong comment. Okay. I think this is for agencies.
Advertisers may be ready, but agencies are not ready to take risk with new platform in Pakistan because the mindsets haven't changed yet.
So I would say advertisers should push the agency.
Yep.
Like you choose, the advertiser chooses the agency, right? So advertisers should push the agency or choose the agency based on how willing they are to take the risk. If the advertiser also playing safe, not working with an agency which is willing to take risk, but they want to work with an agency which is big and delivering the CPRP, then that's what you get.
Yeah.
जैसे आपका बड़ा अच्छा कमेंट था, बहुत ही
Sorry?
हम समझ गए आप क्या कह रहे हैं.
I couldn't help myself laughing on it. Very much related to our last few programs. फहद, आप क्या नो कमेंट्स बोलेंगे या फिर आप?
यार नहीं, मैं इस पे बोलूंगा, मे बी द क्लाइंट इज प्लेइंग बॉल. वो आपको एजेंसी भेजता है, एजेंसी आपको क्लाइंट में भेज देती है. सो द थिंग इज, ऑफ कोर्स, इट्स जस्ट दैट हाउ आर यू पिचिंग इट, or maybe at times again, probably till the time you don't even have an advertiser, you have to go live. I mean, whatever the platform is, whether it's a broadcaster or it's an independent media owner who's launching some platform. So ye risk to hai, and Yasir had actually discussed this earlier in his conversation, that you don't have to invest too much to begin with, right? If your stakes are minimal, what's wrong with going live? Unless, I mean obviously you see, when you see things, then you go for it. That's what generally happens. So probably when people get the feel of the new platform and the look and thing, it's a new trend. और कोई भी ट्रेंड बिल्ड करने में टाइम लगता है, तो जब ट्रेंड बनेगा तो ऑटोमेटिकली आएंगे, फिर क्लाइंट को भी समझ आएगी. सो वंस इट्स लाइव, मे बी इट्स ईजियर, पीपल विल ट्राई, एज आई सेड, बिकॉज ऑफ कोर्स न्यू प्लेटफॉर्म पे जाने में क्लाइंट और एजेंसी दोनों ही रिस्क अवर्स होती हैं. टू बिगिन विद, क्या कंटेंट कैसा होगा, मतलब क्वालिटी है या नहीं है, और ब्रांड इज गोइंग टू बी देयर. Lot of questions, and we know that. You know that, Maz knows that, Yasir knows that. जब हम कोई नया आइडिया लेके क्लाइंट के पास चाहे ट्रेडिशनल मीडिया पे भी जाते थे, तो क्वेश्चन ये होते थे कि यार समझ नहीं आई मुझे,
चलेगा नहीं चलेगा.
हाँ, मतलब ये इसमें यार ये बताओ कि ये ना हो कि पैसे लग जाएं और रिटर्न ना आए, राइट? सो और अभी तो लोग वैसे ही बड़े स्केप्टिकल अपनी इन्वेस्टमेंट्स के बारे में. सो आई थिंक इट्स बिल्डिंग दैट माइंडसेट, एजुकेट देम, एंड द बेस्ट थिंग इज गो लाइव और गो फॉर अ टेस्ट. And let's see, even if it's a limited test, like let's say 1,000 people, to get the feedback that how are we looking when we go live. Those may be the ideas.
And
I'll
absolutely
just
agree.
I'll just add a point to this investment thing, right? I think investment तो issue है ही नहीं यार. आज आप चैनल को बोले मेरी ऑफिस बिल्डिंग की लिफ्ट में तुम ऐड नहीं लगाओ यार, डोंट बाय एड्स इन माय ऑफिस बिल्डिंग. तुम वो पैसे लगा दो किसी प्लेटफॉर्म क्रिएशन में. तुम मेरे खाने और दूसरे एंटरटेनमेंट पे पैसे खर्च नहीं करो, तुम ये पैसे लगा दो किसी अच्छे काम में, राइट? सो देयर इज लॉट ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट दैट इज गोइंग वेस्ट राइट नाउ. द क्वेश्चन इज कि वो उसको चैनल कौन करेगा टू द राइट प्लेस. तो जो
इंडस्ट्री को नेकी की तरफ लेके जाना है.
Good one.
I agree, yes, sir. I totally agree. Yeah. No. So I hope Datu's question is being answered, because it's that it takes some time to build things up.
Yeah, it absolutely does, right? Acha, I think Maz, because we're almost at the closing of the session, right? So we can skip this one. But I just wanted to take, we can skip. But I wanted to just ask both of you guys, right? In terms of the COVID situation is not going to change. At least in Australia, it's a happy news. In Malaysia, it's not. In other parts of the world, it's going to take some time to change. What's your view? And from that perspective, what's going to happen next from a media lens? Because Malaysia, I'll give you an example. What they're estimating is that just level की investment digital पे 2019 में थी, उस level पे आने के लिए it will take them all the way up to 2023, 2024, because that's the kind of hit that we've gotten. But probably in Australia and in Indo, I'm assuming it might not be the same. But what do you guys see globally? What you are hearing, what you're sensing? How do we progress in this industry? And if you can just give one or two comments in terms of what you see is going to happen next.
Right.
Palbhai?
Yeah,
Anyone.
Please
go first.
Okay.
So one thing that we have seen.
Yasir,
one
please
thing
go
that
ahead.
we have seen is obviously 2020 was a big change for everyone, right? Everything got changed. The way we operate, our procedures, our strategy, everything got changed. Media consumption changed. The context in which we are using media and things that we are doing has changed, right?
Absolutely.
Now, this has definitely put pressure on the brand budgets. Things are like brands are under extreme pressure to deliver the same volumes and deliver profitability. So yes, it would not be the same anymore. Things would be different. How soon it would take to recover, no one knows. Abhi to, we really don't know as to when the vaccines would reach the markets. and even after the vaccination when things get under control. So maybe a year, 2 year, 3 year. But one thing is for sure, right? Now, the brands are operating now with a very different view and a mindset. It's more about performance, it's more about delivery, more accountability. But and it's a more cautious approach. So it's no
Yeah.
longer yearly plan. I think plans are now being relooked and reworked every month based on what you're achieving and what the outlook is. So that in mind, I don't think there is a long-term view anymore. It's all about the next 3 months, next 2 months as to how we are doing. Yes, from an overall planning perspective, वो साल का 3 साल का plan सबने बनाया हुआ है, but they all know that this is not going to hold true, and they keep on revisiting the plan on a quarterly basis.
Yep. Thank you, Yasir bhai. Fahad bhai?
Yeah, there are two challenges at the moment. One is COVID, which is very much still there. So the danger still is out there, right?
Yep.
So the second one is the geopolitical unrest, which is happening at a very mass level. So if you look at it, the entire world is in unrest, from North America to European
Yep.
Union, Brexit happening, then issues in Asia and all that. So that's another thing which is slowing down a lot of things. Vaccine is definitely not the answer, or is not the solution for bringing advertising spends back, because people have taken a lot of hit in 2020. So those companies, so while the supply chain issue, and some companies still have supply chain issues, because at least in Australia, they are having a very strong right now rift with China. So Australia supply chain is badly affected at the moment. So clients are also taking a hit over there. So those things are there, and I agree with Yasir that nobody exactly can answer when things are going to be normalized. However,
Yep.
from an Australian market perspective, because Australia is doing relatively better in terms of COVID control compared to the rest of the world, market is expected to grow by 6%, which is meager
Wow.
6% next year. But still, it's a 6% growth that we are anticipating. Or in Australia, digital is 56% of your total adex, 56 or 57 roughly, right? And digital has spiked. So that is not stopping. E-commerce has really gone up. I mean, अभी Black Friday के time पे lockdown था, लेकिन मतलब massive sales, they have hit the ceilings. So people, and the thing is, consumer को भी देखें आप, पूरे साल consumer ने travel नहीं किया है, तो जिनके पास पैसा था, उनको कुछ तो करना था, वो कहीं निकले ही नहीं पूरे साल, तो उन्होंने कहा यार shopping करते हैं. So retail got a very good jump in Q4, at least in Australia, on Christmas and Boxing Day and all those things. Massive sales happened. So e-commerce platforms played a vital role. And from a media perspective, CTV, BVOD, SVOD, everything has spiked. So like imagine यार 25 million की population में ऑस्ट्रेलिया में 12 million के पास तो Netflix है, which is like 50% of the population, right?
Yeah.
So मीडिया में इसलिए मार्केट टू मार्केट बड़ा वेरिएंस होगा, लेकिन रिकवरी फिर भी स्लो है. मतलब वी वर एक्सपेक्टिंग अ डबल डिजिट ग्रोथ इन 2021. I mean, when we were planning for 2020, in 2019 की बात कर रहा हूँ, but it has gone back to like 6% at the moment. उसमें भी like out of home is the worst hit area, which for obvious reasons. Digital has done really well. TV, वही बात है यार, डिजिटल टीवी में जितनी रेटिंग आई उतना रिटर्न नहीं आया. अगर आप देखें, राइट, मैसिव रेटिंग्स आई हैं, मैसिव व्यूअरशिप थी. ये हर मुल्क में हुआ होगा, क्योंकि लोग कुछ कर नहीं रहे तो टीवी देख लेंगे, लेकिन उतनी इन्वेस्टमेंट नहीं आई क्योंकि इन्वेस्टमेंट्स कट हो रही थी. सो दैट हैज प्रॉब्ली बी चैनलाइज्ड टू, एंड दैट्स वेयर योर टॉपिक कम्स अगेन कि सीटीवी होना क्यों जरूरी है, क्योंकि जो टीवी से पैसे कटे हमारी मार्केट में, एटलीस्ट इन ऑस्ट्रेलिया, all of that money has gone to streaming devices. Major chunk, right, on video spends. So those are the things. But market has got a positive outlook, at least in Australia. It might change in next 2 to 3 months, depends on how things are, and if things are settled and parked. But that's for sure that a general discussion is that market will come back to 2019 levels maybe in 2 years time. नेक्स्ट ईयर ये होगा कि आप प्रॉब्ली एट पार आना शुरू होंगे अगर ये चीजें पार्क हो गई, लेकिन रिकवरी तो किसी ने भी देखी. नोबडी हैज एनी आइडिया. यू हैव टू हैव अ 6 months प्लान एंड देन यू हैव गॉट अ 1 year प्लान. दैट्स हाउ थिंग्स आर राइट नाउ. सो अब जैसे ही रिसर्जेंस आएगी, आप सारा आउट ऑफ होम कट कर देंगे, पैसे डिजिटल भी डाल देंगे. जैसे ही लॉकडाउन खुलेगा, लोग क्लब पहुंचेंगे, आप पैसे डिजिटल से निकाल के आउट ऑफ होम डाल देंगे. तो अभी तो ये हो रहा है या लोग करके आ रहे हैं, चेक करो हालात चल क्या रहे हैं. So, I mean, that's how it is. So you are very right now in a volatile situation from a planning and buying perspective.
Yeah.
So we have seen that हमारा out of home का जो हम लोग बड़े इंटरेस्टिंग टाइम से गुजरे हैं, बिकॉज मार्च में जब लॉकडाउन लगा वी हैड ऑब्वियसली कैंसल्ड ऑल द एक्टिविटी ऑन आउट ऑफ होम, और हमने इनडेफिनेट पीरियड के लिए कर दी थी, पैसे रीचैनलाइज हो गए थे. जून में लॉकडाउन हट गया, हमने आउट ऑफ होम फिर से शुरू कर दिया. जुलाई में लॉकडाउन फिर लग गया, फिर वापस पैसे निकले, राइट. तो फिर सितंबर में फिर वापस. सो इतना इस वक्त डायनामिक है कि आप ये तो कह नहीं सकते यार ये मेरा फुल ईयर प्लान लॉक है. So things will keep on moving. You just have to tap the audience where they are and how they are behaving. And that's about it. That's how your planning for next year would be like, and probably even 2021 as of now.
Yeah, that's good. And we actually adapted to it, right? So I think we'll feel at least working in the agency. Right, Maz, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that we are already over time. So I just wanted to highlight that to everyone. Just one last question, I think, because before we need to wrap it up, I think I just wanted to put that comment in, because based on both your profiles and you have had good experience in Pakistan as well, and everyone is asking that question because they just want to learn from you. I'll just put Faraz comment, Fahad bhai, for you.
Maybe Fahad bhai, you know him, maybe you don't know him.
Maybe you don't know him, Faraz. So, but I think we'll take your closing comments, but I think let's just take all your experiences on that. And I think everyone is asking कि Pakistani market में a lot of people are working and they take you both as an inspiration there. What do you think are the first few baby steps they can do? Understanding their limitations in Pakistan market, digital के ऊपर एक limitation है. What are the baby steps they can take?
Yeah.
Because we all grown from that market, right? We all want that market to grow and be one of the best markets in the world from media. So just take from Yasir, you start off, and these are the closing comments.
You want me to go first?
Yes, Yasir, go ahead.
So पहले तो मुझे ये क्वेश्चन ही समझ नहीं आया कि व्हाट्स द नेक्स्ट स्टेप फॉर पाकिस्तानी मार्केट, राइट? नेक्स्ट स्टेप इन व्हाट? माय व्यू इज दैट जितना एक्सपोजर और जितना एक्सेस टू इंफॉर्मेशन यू हैव नाउ विद so many of your friends and networks sitting in other markets, you are getting a lot of learning, right? Now, my only thing is कि what is stopping you from trying out new things? वो जो mindset है ना कि नई चीज़ क्या होती है? पहले लोगो टीवी पे लेफ्ट पे लगा हुआ था, अब उसको राइट पे लगा दो. पहले हम बैकड्रॉप में लगाते थे लोगो, अब प्रोडक्ट को उसके ऊपर ला के रख दो स्टेज के ऊपर. Like get out of that mindset now. वो जितना टीवी पे करना था, ब्रांडिंग, डे ब्रांडिंग, लोगो सुपर इम्पोज, वो हो गया.
Station branding.
Move into something else and start doing something else, right? Yes, you're right. Station branding आज से 25 साल पहले हुई थी, अब भूल जाओ यार. Let's move on. Like there are other things happening on digital, and there is so much. यानी आप कर सकते हैं डिजिटल पे, right? यानी आपको you just need to understand कि मैंने किससे बात करनी है, क्या मेरी क्लाइंट की रिक्वायरमेंट है और मैं इसको क्या चीज़ कर सकता हूँ जो बाहर हो चुकी हुई है. यू डोंट हैव टू रीइन्वेंट द व्हील. बस उठाए जो भी अवार्ड विनिंग केसेस हैं, जितनी भी डिजिटल अवार्ड एंट्रीज आती हैं, उसके अवार्ड विनिंग केसेस उठाएं. उनमें से 10 में से 1 या 2 तो होंगे जो आप पाकिस्तान में कर सकते हैं. आप वो कॉपी कर दें यार. नॉट सेइंग क्रिएट समथिंग न्यू, उसी को कॉपी कर दें और स्टार्ट करें वहाँ से. एंड आई एम श्योर यू विल सी अदर opportunities as you start going on replicating those things in Pakistan.
Yep.
Good point.
Fahad.
Yeah, one bit at a time. If you ask me, I think it's education, and that's across the industry, be it client, be it the agencies, or be it the broadcasters. हमारा एक problem ये है कि हमारे पास knowledge की भी highs and lows हैं, right? So before you experiment something and try to grasp or understand something, you need to have the basic information about it. Pakistan lacks training and development big time. But obviously people who are working with...
Sorry, मैं तुम्हें काट रहा हूँ, but I think मैं पाकिस्तान से निकले बहुत टाइम हो गया है. पाकिस्तान में सबको सब आता है. अब तुम बात करो ना तो पता चल जाता है सब कुछ आता है. ये ट्रेनिंग और डेवलपमेंट को ट्रेनिंग और डेवलपमेंट की जरूरत किसी को नहीं.
हाँ, एक ये प्रॉब्लम है कि अब चूंकि सब आता है तो अब वो स्पेस चाहिए जहाँ पे वो इम्प्लीमेंट कर सकें, राइट? वो
नहीं मिल
space
रहा।
उन्होंने सब कर लिया, सब देख लिया, अब आप ये उन्हें नहीं बताएंगे उन्हें क्या नहीं आता।
सो यार ये वो यासिर ने वही बात की कि जब आप मतलब रुक गए तो आप मुक गए, राइट? जब सब सीख लिए तो अब आगे नहीं बढ़ रहे। ये प्रॉब्लम हमारी मार्केट में मेजोरिटी लेवल पे है, एंड दैट्स वेयर आई थिंक थिंग्स आर गेटिंग स्टक। और अभी तो आई मीन यार ऑब्वियसली आई थिंक यासिर इज प्रॉब्ली लर्निंग अ लॉट। मैं जब से आया हूँ मुझे लग रहा है कि अभी भी आई स्टिल हैव लॉट ऑफ मिसिंग पॉइंट्स इन माय ओन ऑस्ट्रेलियन मार्केट बिकॉज देयर इज सो मच हैपनिंग। लाइक अब यहाँ पे जो है, जस्ट टू गिव यू एन एग्जांपल, कि आपके बी वॉट प्लेटफॉर्म जो है वो ई कॉमर्स प्लेटफॉर्म लॉन्च कर रहे हैं अपने बी वॉट के अंदर, राइट? लाइक अ टीवी चैनल इज लॉन्चिंग अ ई कॉमर्स प्लेटफॉर्म ऑन इट्स बी वॉट। So, or so much technically, so many things are happening that you have to keep on learning. So when you keep on finding out, so then obviously you can relate to the case studies that you get from international market. क्योंकि sometimes मेरा जाती ख्याल ये कि एक apprehension ये होती है कि यार वो मुल्क तो इतना एडवांस है, उसकी केस स्टडी को हम कैसे इम्प्लीमेंट करेंगे? तो उसमें होता ये कि obviously you have to tweak things according to what is available. So you can't probably replicate 100% of it, but at least 60% of it, how do you innovate it? And then how do you go and present to the client is also another big thing. So आपको करना पड़ेगा, आपको कॉन्स्टेंटली ब्रॉडकास्टर को सीखना पड़ेगा कि क्या हो रहा है दुनिया में। मतलब ऑब्वियसली वो आपने अक्सर देखा होगा, आप लोग सोशल मीडिया पे हैं, वो आज हमने 7 GRPs कर ली, फ्लायर आता है, हमें इससे बाहर निकलना होगा वरना हाँ
वो भी
ठीक
आता
है।
है,
मसला
अभी भी आता है।
So, but, I mean, if you ask me, if I'm the top broadcaster, does it really matter कि मैं यार मैं फ्लायर निकालूं कि 7 GRP आई हैं? भाई मैं तो वैसे ही बड़ा हूँ ना यार, अब मुझे तो नेक्स्ट लेवल पे जाना है। अगर मैं आज भी compete करूंगा और एक थर्ड चैनल के साथ, और ग्राफ में सिर्फ नाम हटा देते हैं लेकिन आप शो करते हैं नंबर 3 चैनल इस नंबर पे, अबे भाई मतलब हमें नहीं पता। So those are the things that you have to walk out of now, because you have to play like big boys, because if you want to play with the big boys then you have to be in the bigger game and you have to play the game like that. So that's what I think Pakistan market is still not doing. Holding groups have got a lot of exposure, but how many holding groups are actually replicating their own regional work in Pakistan? They are not even doing it. Okay, whatever the reasons are, I don't know, but even they are not doing it. So something has to be there. I think lack of time, too busy, not interested. There could be like option A, B, C, and then it could be option E, none of the above.
यार like किस चीज में बिजी है? लाइक वही चीज जो 10-15 साल पहले हो रही थी वही हो रही है आज भी। वो CPRP अगर एक्सेल में फिक्स कर रहे हैं बैठ के, तो अब ये किसका कसूर है?
नहीं,
एक्सेल का
यार
कसूर है कि
आपको
वो
अब हम थोड़ा ऑफ द रिकॉर्ड जा रहे हैं, लेकिन यार सर बड़ी सिंपल एग्जांपल दो। आप पाकिस्तान में किसी को फोन करें, वो अक्सर आपको 4 दिन बाद फोन करते हैं, आप पूछें यार क्या हो रहा है, कहाँ फंसा हो, तो वो कहते हैं यार बड़ा बिजी था। अरे भाई
हाँ, इसके अंदर एक बंदे का नाम लेना चाहूंगा, मुस्तफा हुसैन होते हैं, उनको हम नूनी कहते हैं प्यार से।
सो आपको वही है सर के लोग एंड रीडिंग तो बड़ा अरसा हो गया, मतलब खैर मास तो आर्डेंट रीडर है मुझे पता है, लेकिन ये कि रीडिंग रीडिंग की हैबिट तो बिल्कुल खत्म हो चुकी है। दैट्स अनदर थिंग दैट ओपन्स अप योर माइंड।
Actually, writing is also a good way.
Yeah. So that's about it. Yeah, that's what my view is.
यार at least they are doing something healthy, right? That's fine, but
नहीं, आई होप फराज को मैं जानता हूँ बड़े क्लोजली, तो इज माय क्वेश्चन आंसर्ड?
आप 1-to-1 कोचिंग किया करें ज्यादा।
All right, thank you so much, Yasir bhai. Thank you so much, Fahad bhai, for being part of this session. It was amazing. It was very it was a nice conversation, and I think we learned quite a bit. And I'm hoping that people back in Pakistan or people who are watching, would be watching this later, also gets to learn something. Any last comments from you guys before we close? Anything you want to say? Anything you have any goodbye message? Anything at all? If not, then we just say Allah Hafiz. Anything, Fahad bhai? Anything?
I think we said a lot. I have nothing more from my side.
Perfect. Thank you. That's
Thank you so very much.
Thank you guys. Keep learning and stay safe.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
We'll stay in touch. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you. Bye bye.
Allah Hafiz.